Namaskar friends, welcome to lecture number 28. Today we are talking about the group of monuments at Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu, which is a Dravida style architecture. Unlike the Nagara style of architecture, which we discussed while we were doing Khajuraho, the Dravida temple is enclosed within a compound wall. The front wall has an entrance gateway right in its center, and this is known as the Gopuram. The shape of the main Dravida temple tower, known as the Viman in Tamil, is like a stepped pyramid which rises geometrically, unlike the curved shikaras in North India. The Pallavas were one of the ancient Indian dynasties of the south that were active in Andhra region from 2nd century onwards before they started spreading much beyond Andhra. Although they were mostly Shaivite, several Vaishnava shrines also survived from their reign, and there is no doubt that they were influenced by the long Buddhist tradition of the Deccan also. Their early buildings were generally rock cut, while the latter ones they were structural in nature. The early buildings, which are the rock cut, are generally attributed to the reign of Mahendravarman I, while it was Narsimhavarman I, also known as Mamala, who acceded the Pallava throne and expanded the empire, inaugurating most of the monument work at Mahabalipuram, which is known after him as Mamalapuram also. These groups of monuments were inscribed on UNESCO's list of World Heritage Site in 1984 and have been an important trading center in the ancient world. Archaeologists have classified the monuments at Mahabalipuram according to their modes of construction into four types: the monoliths, the caves, the temples, and the sculpted scenes. Most of the monoliths they were cut out of a solid rock and have been styled as a rath or as a chariot. One such being the Panch Rath, which has a group of 5 monolithic freestanding temples that were cut from solid granite and diorite rocks. The 5 temples are symbolically named after the Pandavas and Draupadi. The second, which is the caves, have been either given the status of a stage from where it is said the king used to address his people, like the tiger caves, or the status of a temple called the mandap, such as the Mahisha Mardini Mandap. Krishna Mandapam is the biggest of all the mandaps. There's also a Varaha Mandap, Varaha, the boar holding the Bhudevi, the earth goddess, and this can be actually seen on the side walls of the Varaha Mandap. Amongst the temples, which is the third structure, the most popular is the Shore Temple, which is also interestingly known as 7 pagodas. Though standing alone, but 7 pagodas. You know why? Because there's a belief that initially there were 7 temples here at Mahabalipuram on the shore, and this made gods very jealous. So Indra, the gods of rain and thunderstorm, he called upon great floods to submerge the rest of the city into the lap of the ocean. In 2004, to add on, when the tsunami struck the Coromandel coast, several locals and even tourists claim to have seen the other 6 temples surface. Interesting, isn't it? However, there is no absolute evidence supporting this. The Shore Temple, like the other temples, are facing the east and houses 3 shrines. Yes, you heard me right. 3 shrines. Two which are depicting, symbolizing Shiva, one in which Shiva is facing the east and the other in which Shiva is facing the west. The middle one is Vishnu, who is shown as Ananta Shayana, one who is sleeping on the serpent Anant, and symbolically it represents the cosmic balance of the finite within infinity. Anyways, these 3 areas of worships are definitely not a regular feature in the temples, for they generally have a single main shrine. So an obvious conclusion is that this is not how it was originally conceived, and different shrines may have been added at different times, modified perhaps with the change in the patrons. In the compound of the Shore Temple, there is an evidence of a water tank, an early example of Gopuram, and several other images. Sculptures of Nandi line the temple walls, along with other carvings on the lower walls of the temple also. Last, that is the largest sculptural panel, the largest and the oldest, has several stories attached to what actually it symbolizes. The most popular is the story of Kirate Arjuna, or Arjuna's repentance. a poetic work by Bharavi, which is known to have been popular in the Pallava court. Others believe that it is a story of the descent of Ganga, goddess Ganga, from heaven to earth, while some have interpreted the symbolism behind the sculptures to show that the whole tableau was created to be a prashasti, or something to praise the Pallava king, who they said would have sat enthroned on the tank in front of this extraordinary backdrop. So, friends, now we are left with four sites, which I shall cover in the forthcoming three lectures, as I would be combining the Ajanta and the Ellora caves in one. So, see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Jai Hind. Namaskar.